Okay, I thought I'd do something a little bit different. I've got this piece in front of me, La Fille, oh no, The Girl with the Flaxen Hair by Debussy. I haven't actually played this piece before, so I thought, why don't I learn it in front of the camera? This way you can see how to practice it, and it also means I'll be learning it. So if you're learning this piece at the moment, you're learning it along with me. So what do I know about this? Well, I know it's Debussy, and Debussy was interested in different sorts of scales. So it might have some interesting scales and things happening in it. And then it says très calme et doucement expressif. So I know it's very calm, and I think doucement is sweetly, and expressive would be expressive. I could Google it, I guess, but I won't worry about doing that now. Sans rigueur would be without rigor. So these are French words rather than our standard Italian words. So it's no shame to grab a dictionary. Now, I've got 6 flats there. So 6 flats, and an elastic on the piano. 6 flats is all the flats. That's the 5 and 1 more. The 1 more is C flat. So the only note that's not flat is F. Okay, so now I'll look at the first section. Now my notes. And then there's a weird chord here, so I'll find it. B, E flat, G flat, C flat, which is B, G flat. And then I've got a G flat major chord by the looks of it. So G flat, D flat, G flat, B flat, G flat. Now it says to put my 5 on F, but I'm still holding those. Okay, so I've just marked the notes. Now let me check the rhythm. So I'm seeing lots of semiquavers. I can probably do it using my 1 and 2 and 3. So let's give it a go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and I'll keep going. 3, and I noticed that I've had to let go, and the fingering session suggested is 2 and 3. Okay, so that now I've got the rhythm. Now if that didn't work for me, then I would count like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'll stop here, find the chord, because I don't want to get rhythm right but miss the chord. I want to get the chord, and then I can fix the rhythm later. And I'm noticing that these bottom 2 notes are holding, and my top note is changing, and then here's my chord. I'm also not using my pedal. I'm not using my pedal because I want to hear that the rhythm is, the notes are clear, that my fingers are connected. I'm not bouncing around these chords. I don't want to do that. Hold that 4, get the chord ready. Okay, so I think I've practiced it twice. So I'll practice it 1 more, and maybe I can get to that chord quicker now because I'm getting better at it, but it's fine. Maybe I'll do it like I don't know how to get to that chord quickly. So if I'm practicing, I go 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3. Stop. Find the chord. Okay, stop. Now I'm going to hold. What can I hold? I can't really hold those ones, so I'm going to let go of those ones, but I'm still holding my E flat. And I can probably hold both of those, but maybe I'll let go of the thumb if my hand's small. And then I'm still holding these notes, and then I get my chord ready. So I just find my notes in my chord. Okay, now if I was by myself, I'd probably do that between 5 and 10 times, and hopefully I've then got rid of that gap. Okay, now I've got lots of chords here, so if you've got a pencil, maybe write them in. So this is D flat major, and then I've got, what have I got here? It looks like B flat minor, so B flat, F, B flat, so that's my 5th, and my 4th on top. Debussy loved his 5ths, and D flat, F, D flat on top. Then I've got E flat minor, then I've got G flat major, then D flat major, and then I've got B flat major, and I've got a huge gigantic chord that I can't reach. So E flat, B flat, E flat in the right hand is fine, but left hand is, oh, my book actually says to do this. I was going to roll it like this. Oops. With my pedal. I'll do what the book says, and obviously my pedal will have to catch that. Okay, now I'm going to stop there because that little section has so many chords, so I want to practice that bit 5 times. Now, you might want to practice it with all those stop prepares. So I don't need to do the stop prepares because my fingers have got very good at finding those chords. But just like I did the first time where I found the chord then played it, maybe I'll demonstrate that. So play the chord, find the chord, play the chord, find the chord, play the chord, find the chord, and then find the chord, top note, and then find the chord, then play it, and then find the chord. So notice when I'm finding the chord, I'm putting my fingers on the chord first and then playing it. I'm not starting from above and hoping to get the chord. I'm actually making sure, are my fingers ready to go? Now I can play the chord. Okay, and I would have done that section about 5 times, and now I'll go to the next bit. Oh, I didn't count it. Let me do one with counting so you can hear the counting. 1 and 2 and, sorry, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and, okay, so that's with the counting. So, but I wouldn't go to the counting step until my fingers were happy with the chords. And if it takes me 10 times to play it to get my fingers happy with the chords, that's okay. Okay, so now I'm at bar 8. Now this looks similar to my beginning part, except there's extra chords. So I might look at my left hand first to figure out what those chords are. So we've got F flat, G flat, B flat. It says 2, 4, 5 in my book, so I'll do the editor's suggestion for the moment. And then I've got G flat, A flat, C, a C natural. Then does it again. Then E flat, D flat. Well, that's too big a stretch for most of my students. So I'd say let go, and then it says to swap to 5 and then swap to 3. So both the bottom finger, so I played that with 1 and 3. I swapped the bottom to 5, I swapped the top to 3. So that's what the book suggested. Okay, so I'll play that a few times. Oh, it's 2, 4, 5, got the wrong fingering. And now let's try with the right rhythm. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3. Oops, what am I counting? 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Okay, so you can see that even people who are quite experienced will still sometimes slip up with the rhythm. So if you slip up with the rhythm, you know that you're not the only one. Okay, I'll just check the right hand just because the extra notes. 1, oh, wait, we're counting. I'll just find the notes. So that's holding there. And then here's the note. And that one's holding while the top notes change. The top note changes, hold. Then my 5, swap to 5. Okay, so there's something I do need to look at in this right hand, that it's really important that the top notes don't hold, because as soon as we add the pedal, we might do this and we won't know, but that does make a difference for the listeners. So hold the bottom note, 1 and 2 and, now change the bottom note, hold, change the top notes. So there's only ever 2 holding at a time. So there's 2 notes, there's only 2 notes of bottom in that note, 2 notes of bottom in that note, 1 note, 2 notes, 2 notes, so we had to let go of that one, and now 3 notes. Okay, so now I'll try and play it together. 1 and 2 and technically those ones are supposed to hold through, but I can't hold them through and do, so just let them go because I'll allow the pedal to be in control of that. So now I've done it, I'll do it a few more times. 2, 1, I'm going to count in 6 quavers accidentally, and I want to be consistent and count the hands. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. Looking at bar 9, in bar 9 I would highlight the 3-5 here. 3-5 done, because I'm going to get that wrong. Whoops, that's out of the key. I'm going to miss that 3-5. Absolutely, tomorrow when I practice it. So I'd highlight it now, except this is Mary's book, not mine. I'd highlight it now so that when I come back to it tomorrow, that I'm not going to make that mistake. Okay, now we're at the cede. Now cede means yield. So I interpret that as relax the speed a little bit. So what have we got? We had that holding already. So got 1, 2, 3. That's C flat here, and let's find this chord, and we might stop here. So G flat, D flat, G flat, D flat, A flat, A flat, C flat, D flat, and E flat on top. So I need to stretch that much. So I know you can't see my whole body, but I'm rocking my whole body. So I'm rocking on that hip so that I can reach that note to get that E flat. Now, if I couldn't reach the E flat, I would drop the D flat in the middle and just do that one there. And now that I've got the chord, I can roll it. Okay, so that's from the cede. And I'll stop there because that's quite a hard chord to find. And so I don't want to make the section too big. Otherwise, I've got too many chords to find, and that doesn't help my brain. Remember, the working memory has a capacity for 7 plus or minus 2 things. So that chord at the moment, my hands haven't found it easily yet. So it's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 notes in my working memory. So I don't want to add another thing in there. So let's go from where it says cede, or cedes, it looks like it says. 1, oops, left hand. 1, 2, 3, and 2, 4, and then get that chord ready. Oh dear, have I got it? Wait, I've got to roll it. Okay, so still not quite good enough to go on. 1, 2, 3, and I'm singing rubbish. It's not counting now. I'm singing fingering. 1 and 2 and 3 and I can't get there quick enough. Enough to roll it. Okay, so try again. 1 and 2 and 3 and I'm almost there. I'm almost getting that chord quickly. And my right hand really wants to play that. I'd probably write left hand there if this is my book. Ooh, yeah, that's starting to feel like my fingers know where they're going. And something I missed and I've just seen now is that just at the end of that bar, there's these train tracks. I'm not sure if you can see the page. There's these train tracks there. So that actually gives me permission to have that little break while I find that chord. So that very tiny break. Now I feel like I'm comfortable enough. Maybe tomorrow when I practice it, it's gone back to not being known, and most likely it won't be known tomorrow. But the memory trail's there. So when I practice it tomorrow, if I practice it slowly the same way, hand separately and then counting in, then within a couple of days, it won't need that anymore. But if I rush it, because I should know it because I practiced it yesterday, I'm going to get very good at playing my mistakes. I don't want to get good at playing my mistakes. I want to get good at playing the right note. So I'll go for that note there. Now the left hand keeps holding, so I'm in bar 12. Now the right hand's got 2, 3. Thumb is at C flat, so I've got to make sure it's a C flat. If I miss the C flat, then I'd highlight the note, because sometimes C flats are hard to remember. And then we've got that chord, and I think that might be a good place to stop. because I've got to find that chord. That's just a G flat major chord in second inversion. So that's not too bad to find, but just because it's a big chord that in a key that we're not used to playing in. And 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and then 3 and, well, that's a surprising thumb there, isn't it? And 3, thumb, 4, dum. So now I think because of how small the section is, and I'm pretty good at getting my G flat major chord. Now that I said that, I can't find it. There it is. So I'm going to join those two bars together and make that my new section. Ooh. And then, so what chord have I got there? So I've got G flat, C flat, G flat, C flat, G flat, C flat, E flat, G flat. Excuse me, that might not be the right one. I don't think that's the right one.
It's not.
Okay, so it's somewhere back there. Okay, I've been asked to find something off the back of my piano in the middle of a video, but here we go. So a G flat, C flat, E flat, G flat. So now hold that. Maybe there's too many notes here. Now that I've looked at it, because I got distracted, I think I'd be better to look at this one hand separately with all number of notes. So I've got the bottom note here, E flat, 2, 4, 5, but the bottom note stayed. The top note, remember, only one note at a time in the top part, so that there's 2 notes at any one moment. I've got 2, 1 while I hold that top note. 2, 1. Now still only got 2 notes in total. Top note 4, 3, swap to 4, then 2, 1, and oops, 2, 1. There's a C flat. I might highlight it so I don't miss it, and then F E with 5, 4, and then 2, 1. 3, 2, and I feel like that's a good stopping point, even though it's not the end of the bar, because it's the end of that mini idea. Okay, so practice it again, right hand. I did something I call spider fingering. I'll show you. 2, 1, 4, 3, swap, 2, 1, and here it is. Here's my 4, and this thing is going to go underneath. So it does what it's like making a spider walking. And then 2, 1, 3, 2. Okay, I'd probably do that 10 times. And then here I've got my left hand, which is all parallel fourths. And then A flat and D flat. Then that one again, 2 and 5, and then 1 and 4. 2 and 5, and then 1, 4. And that's B and E, C flat and F flat. Okay, so I'll practice those fourths again. Had to think about that F flat. And now I'm still not using my pedal. I want as much as possible to be connected. So I do need to use spider fingering a little bit. So hold the bottom note while I reach over. So see, I'm still holding the G flat. I reach over to do 1 and 4. And that one. Now I hold the E flat, reach over to 1 and 4. Okay. Now normally I'd probably practice that a good 10 times because I don't feel quite comfortable with the notes of that yet. But because I make a video, I won't make you sit through 10 times. Together, together, and change. All 3 to 4. I did the wrong fingering. 5, 4. Okay, so do that again. So 3, swap to 4. Oops, let me see, adding an F flat. Okay, one more go. 3, 4, 5, 4, So that is not yet stable at all. But it's correct. I'm still doing it really slowly, and I do another 10 times really slowly just to really get solid at it. I wouldn't speed it up. Not yet, not today. The next bit, so I've got this, what note is that? C. So I know one black line is E, two ledger lines is C, 3 is A, so this is one note low, which is G, so G flat. So I'm not used to this scale because this isn't one that I know. A jazz musician might know a name for it. I completely muddled it up. A flat, C flat, D flat, E, A. So that looks like a C sharp major chord. Again. Now I'm starting to get the idea. Now I know that there's a chord after it, but I see my book doesn't suggest that I have to put a thumb under here. That makes sense because I do have the pedal and I've got to jump anyway to go to that chord. Ooh, see, I'm rushing. Doing exactly what I tell you guys not to do. Oh goodness, this is my bifocals causing me trouble. As you can tell, that needs a fair bit of practice before my brain will sort out. Well, I can actually see that's a C sharp major chord. It's all thirds. I see a pattern. It's a minor third, it's a major third, it's a minor third. Minor third, major third. I think that's too hard to think about, but I can see the D flat minor there, C sharp minor there. Either way, D flat minor because he's using flats. And then there's a B, and there's another D flat minor. So that might help me. What doesn't help is the fingering the book suggests isn't the same in both patterns. Now I know why it's not the same. It doesn't ever suggest that, and that is a bit clunky anyway. So yeah, the fingering is causing an issue there with the memory, but that's okay. I'll do it 10 times and then I'll be good at it. Okay, so now it looks to me like B major. And it is B major, except it's not B major, it's C flat major. I probably would then practice them together. So let's give that a shot with, even though I'm not stable with that arpeggio yet. And then 5. So notice everything held. There's my note. And then I move my pinky, but I'm holding everything else. Okay, so that's the end of that section. And we're about halfway through the piece, except maybe some of those bits are similar to what we've done before. Okay, so what bar is this? 17. So do I recognize this chord? Well, that's A flat minor, and that it looks like it's adding a flattened 7th, and that how we've got a big stretch because we've got from B to B flat, C flat to B flat. Now hold all the bottom part while we change the top note. And then I've got that chord. So that looks like a D flat major, and there's a 7. So it's used 2 7s in a row. A flat minor 7, which is acting sort of like a secondary dominant, except it's minor, going to another 7th. D flat major 7. Oh look, we're going to another one, which is A flat minor again. And now what chord are we going to now? We've got B flat on the bottom, B flat on the top, F, A, B flat in the right hand, it's hooked in, and E flat on the top. And then play the top B flat. And I'll stop there, where it says on per anime. On per is a little, anime would be animated, maybe emotional, and again, we could Google it. I'll look at it in a dictionary in Google Translate. Okay, so I'll practice that again. So I've got that A flat minor 7. The fact I recognize it now as A flat minor 7 makes it easier, because then this is D major, D flat major, 7, 2. Okay, and I'll count it, and I'll try and remember to count with 1 and 2 and 3 and instead of 6 quavers. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. Now there is a little bit of jumping of the hand. Notice I'm trying to jump gently. The pedal is going to cover it up a little bit when we add the pedal. Okay, but nowhere near today's first practice. Okay, so I'm on per anime. So what I've got 3, 2, 1, and then was 3 ledger lines. So there's the first ledger line, second line, third ledger line. So it's F. It's a bit. Oh, that natural's on G, not on B. I thought I saw a B natural earlier in the bar, but no, I didn't. And then I've got. Like, I'll go from the top, because that bottom ledger line, maybe I can't see how many lines it's got. There's B flat, there's A flat, there's F, so it's an F on the bottom. And that might be a section to stop on too. Okay, so 3, 2, 1. Now I'm going to hold that B flat, but I'm not going to hold this E flat, because the right hand takes over. Those press again, all of them except the B flat. Do you see that little tiny tie in there? It's tying the B flat to the next B flat. Okay, so again. 3, 2, 1, and you see my naughty thumb stay there and not let go? Better do that again. And I'll count this time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. Oops. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. Now this looks like it's in similar motion, but I want the fingering right. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's the same. It's the same pattern, but up an octave. So it's suggesting 3, 2, 1, 2, 1, 3. 3, 2, 1, 2, 1, 3. Okay? I would say I wouldn't put these hands together. Not until I was really happy that my hand had memorized that fingering. And this hand, 3, 2, 1, I really don't like that. I prefer that. 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3. Now if I'm going to change the fingering, I would have to write in. Now let me see if I prefer hands together. So 2, 3, 4. I do. I very much prefer that fingering. And when I have a preferred fingering, I'll write it in so I don't forget next time. So I'll write it in on behalf of the owner of this book. So 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, and the 3, 2 is fine. So 2, 1, 3. Then change only the top notes. And then E flat major chord. And we do that again. So I'd use the same fingering. And funnily, the fingering that I've written in is what they suggest this time. Now that goes against all my principles, because when I have the same passage, even at a different octave, I want the same fingering. So they've given one fingering for one octave, one fingering for the other. But if we use this 2, 1, 3, 2, 1 fingering, that's excellent because we can use it both times. 3, 2. Now this chord, what is it? That is a B major chord, but it's not called B major, it's called C flat major. But if it helps, you could write in brackets underneath it, it's B major. Okay, so rather than have you watch me practice this 100 times, I can see that I would want to practice this bit lots. To get that fingering happening. My fingers don't quite want to grab it straight away. We'll do it one more time. Oh, that top note didn't hear. I do want to hear that top note. Later on when I'm working on it, I'll be trying to bring out the top note, but for the moment I'm trying to learn the notes. So, but that's the top note we want. So when you're practicing, you think, oh, I've practiced it once, isn't that enough? You can see I'm practicing going, this bit needs more practice than I want to make you sit through on the video. But if it was on my own, I'd do it a fair few more times. So here we go. So we're on the count 3. 3 and 4. Now I've got D flat major and the top note's going to move. That is just written in upper mordant. Debussy and his contemporaries would write in things that Baroque composers would have just done as ornaments. But while we're doing that, these bottom notes are holding. And then we've got this chord, E flat minor. So maybe I'll go from the one that looks like B major, C flat major, 3 and 1, 2 and... He's divided it, this bar, like it's in 6/8, interestingly. And then we've got A flat major here. And probably that's a neat section anyway. So I'll go from our C flat major chord. So I'll find my C flat major chord. I don't trust that I've got the rhythm right. I've got the notes, so let's try the rhythm. So 3 and 1 and 2 and oops and 3 and. So I missed my A flat, didn't I? So probably it's not ready for me to do the right rhythm. 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. It says 4 5 4 there. I'm not bothered by that because I know I have to jump my hand anyway. So I'd rather do the less stressful fingering on my hand. So maybe I'll give it one more practice. Okay, now we're up to bar. What bar is this? 23. So is this the same? Well, it's the same, and this is the same, and this is almost the same, but there's a missing note in the left-hand chord. So because it's different here, I'd circle that because I want to make sure I don't get tripped up and forget that it's different there. Whoops. B major, sorry, C flat major. So 1 and 2 and what's that? It's A flat major. And there's 1 in that hand. There's a page turn, so I'm not going to bother trying to get the rhythm right for the page turn because I want to make sure my chords are right. And let me now double check the rhythm is right. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Okay, and there's train tracks anyway, but those train tracks are really only the space of a nanosecond. Not enough to turn the page, but you know, we're all brilliant and we're going to memorize it so we don't need to turn the page. If we can't memorize it, then we photocopy the page and stick it over there. And remember, it's not legal to photocopy copyrighted works except for the purpose of performance in this way. So you could photocopy just one page, even though that's more than 10%. You could photocopy the one page and stick it there. As long as you're not photocopying that page and giving it away, as long as it's staying with your book, it's regarded for education purposes. So, and it's quite permitted. So, however, we're still learning the piece and we don't need to play in rhythm from that bar to the end. Now this says movement without something. Don't know what that means. You guys can Google it, Google Translate it, and figure out what it means there. As a warning with Google Translate, although I think all these words are okay, but sometimes a word might have a meaning now that didn't have the same meaning when it was used. But that's less of a problem with Debussy. That's more of a problem with some of our earlier Baroque and classical composers. But here we go. Okay, so we've got, what's that? The left hand. Might go hand separately to see what these chords are. So, because that chord has the fifth on top, there's the fifth, there's the B flat. But then it looks like at first glance that most of the others have the fifth on the bottom. Let's see. So G flat, E flat, G flat. That one's got the fifth on the top, that one's got the fifth on the top. And then fifth on the top, fifth on the bottom. Okay, so not quite, it's not consistent. Okay, so that's the pattern. So the octaves we can see. There's the octaves, and then now with the added inner note, maybe I should have just inner note. So notice I'm not using nice fingering. I'm using this sort of fingering that I would use on that note when I play it. Left hand. It says 1 and 4. I'll go with the finger it suggests for the moment. So it's mostly fifths. 1 and 4, 2. That's that nice looking B major one again. Fifth, the fourth, which is just an inverted fifth anyway. 4, 2. Oh, that I like the 1 3 there fingering. Actually, 1 3, 1 4, 2 5, 1 4, 1 3, 1 2. I like that. 1 3, 1 3. Oh, it does say we can do 1 3, 1 4, 2 5. That's better. So then the thumb is very active, but we don't need to worry so much about the bottom part if we do that fingering. 1 4, then 2 5, but then 1 on all the top notes. 1 on all the top notes until that is at the same place. And no, because it was a fourth the first time, it's a fifth the second time. Okay, so now I'll try and do it together. Again, it's a little bit earlier than I'd do it if I was practicing by myself. Because I haven't really stabilized that left hand fingering, have I? Not only have I not stabilized it, but I'm wearing my bifocals, which means I'm holding my head at a very weird angle to see the music. I need a lot more practice than what I'm doing now. Oops. And realistically, I'd probably do that 10 times. Now the next section looks similar. That's a very nice ending. So it's funny how if you're doing theory, which you should be doing by this stage, and you always taught don't use parallel fifths. But Debussy used a lot of parallel fifths. Now that was nothing new, because in the Renaissance and the medieval era, the fifth was the perfect interval. And so parallel fifths were used a lot. They were sort of regarded like we regard octaves now. A fifth was just doubling the melody. In the same way we would hear an octave as doubling the melody, they would see that for the fifth as well. So this is 3 and 5. Oh, I noticed something down there. I see in the left hand, I see UC. UC is una corda, which stands for one string. Now I'm not going to do that while I'm practicing, but Debussy actually is asking us to use our pedal. You can see on the ground when I use the pedal, it moves the whole keyboard. So what it's doing is it's moving the hammers. They only hit one string. But then when I release the pedal, tre corda, 3 strings are getting hit. So we've actually got an instruction to use that soft pedal here. Not the one in the middle if you've got an upright. That puts a blanket over the strings. We don't want a blanket over the strings. We just want the softer sound. Now your upright doesn't do an una corda. It just moves the hammer closer to the strings, but that's the one you'd use for this task. Okay, so now we're here. And we're doing parallel fourths. So that one's okay. Just using a movable thumb. That's better. So 2 and 5, 1 and 4. 2 and 5, 1 and 4, 1 and 3, 2 and 5, 1 and 4. This is to do 2 and 5 again. But then it says to do 1 and 2 there, so. Okay, so let me think about what fingering they're offering here. So 2 and 5, 1 and 4, 1 and 3. Then 2 and 5, 1 and something. But I want to put 1, 4, 1. 1, 3, 1, 2. I would just do that. Let my thumb be nice and movable. So 2 and 4, 2 and 5, sorry, 1 and 4, 1 and 3, and then move it up. 2 and 5, 1 and 4, 1 and 3, 1 and 2, 1 and 3. Okay, so we should write that in, shouldn't we? So 2 and 5, 1 and 4, 2 and 5, 1 and 4, 1 and 3. 2 and 5, 1 and 4, 1 and 3, 1 and 2, 1 and 3. And then we've got, well, that is an A. It will be a minor 7th. A minor 7th goes to D flat major. Okay, again, isn't it ready for hands together? But let's do it for the sake of the video. 2 and 5, 1 and 4, 1 and 3, 1 and 2, A flat minor 7, and D flat major. Such a lovely modulation again. So I would have done the right hand 10 times, the left hand 10 times before I tried this. No, E flat was missing. I should have thought first, shouldn't I? That was very naughty, and that comes down to not doing enough hands separately. Okay, very sadly, the camera turned off and must have got full memory. So I practiced that bit a whole heap of times. You saw me stuff it up. I wrote the fingering in, which I think you saw. And then, so I'll start from bar 28. And this time, it's not the first time I've played it because I've already practiced it. Okay, but as you saw, this still needed a lot more practice. And then that A flat major 7, A flat minor 7, going to D flat major. Okay, so now we've got C flat major here, which feels like B major. We've got the una quarta pedal, the left pedal again, but we're not going to use it because we're learning the piece. We've got all movement, which would be back to the original speed. We've got tre do, I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm guessing means very sweet, but double check with your Google Translate or dictionary if you've got a French English dictionary. And then it's very similar to the beginning. So we're up here. So I recognize that, and now I've got my C flat major chord again. Now I've got to read that note. So it's got 3 ledger lines. The first ledger line C, the second one's E, the next one is G. So that's A flat. And now I've got E flat major. So what's my fingering say? It says to do the bottom 2 first, and then E flat minor, sorry, and then jump up to those. So, and then G flat major. I'm going to roll that one because I can't stretch a 10th. Okay, so now I think I've got the notes, and but I did actually practice it a few times before the camera turned off. So here we've got the 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 now I didn't make the mistake I made the first time it recorded, and that was when I counted it. It's hard to count wrong, but and 3 and 1 and, because when you do this 1 and, the voice wants to follow what your hand's doing. It's not 1 and 2 and 3, and so I did it right the first time on this take. That your voice remains steady even though the hand is doing psycho thing. There it is. But this is still steady, and here same. 1 and 2 and 3 and okay. So now we've got murmuring and slowing little by little. Do double check with your Google Translate. But this bit looks very similar to the bit earlier, but it's not the same. It finishes differently. But let's give it a go. So we've got bottom, swap, 5, 4 without spider fingering. I think that's as far as the first one went, isn't it? To go to A flat, it did, excuse me. But now top part and thumb, top part and thumb, top part and thumb. Okay, so I'd probably practice it a couple of times. Stop there before the next bar because it's a completely different idea, isn't it? Now my left hand. Now this left hand, the first time I went through it, I sort of noticed that I think that the editor doesn't know what fingering to use. So 2 4 2 4 1 3 2 4. Now I've decided that this one should be 1 and 5, and then 1 and 3, 2 4 1 and 5. 2 4 1 and 3, 2 and 4, 1 and 5, 2 4 1 3. So that little bit there, that makes sense a lot. And I think the editor wanted that fingering there, and sort of just went, oh, well, you can guess what fingering to do there, because nothing really works neatly. So 2 4 1 3 2 4 1 5 1 3 2 4 1 5 2 4 1 3. Okay. Now I do that a few times to make sure my fingering's stable. You missed the first time that I did them about 5 times. So here we go. So 2 and 4 to go. 3 4 1 5 1 3 5 4. Okay, so something about this that, again, I wanted you to see the first time I practiced it, but because the first time I practiced it, I had to pause. This bit I was okay with because we practiced that one before, didn't we? 5 4. Now, what am I supposed to be? 1 and 3. I've missed on my fingering anyway. And then get ready. Think. about this? Think. So it's okay to pause and think. It's always okay to pause and think. And you might think, but doesn't that mean I'll get the wrong rhythm later on? It doesn't if you're listening to the recording. If you're listening to that recording every day, then you're hearing the right rhythm. So it doesn't matter if you're playing the wrong rhythm because you're hearing it correct and your brain knows what correct sounds like. It knows that you're planning to make sure you hit the chords correctly so you don't train your fingers with wrong distances, the distance they need to travel from one note to the other. So you practice it, then you listen, and then you fix the rhythm after you're good at the notes. Now, I'm not really good at the notes, but I've done this many times now that I'm not too bad at doing notes and rhythm at the same time. But don't expect your hands to be able to do notes and rhythm at the same time. And the first time I recorded, I wasn't doing notes and rhythm at the same time. See, I paused then actually to think about the fingering. It wasn't a planned pause. Yeah, so you actually saw me just to hesitate for a second, because I wanted to have the fingering and notes right. Okay, so now we're up to the per do si bar, and that's dying away. Now, there's a few fingering options for this. Now, the bottom fingering option in the book I have is 1 3 2 4 5 3, then 1 3 2 4, and then 1 3 2 4 5 3, then 1 3 2 4. Now, I haven't played that with the right rhythm, but it means you've got the pattern the same. So when you do D flat and G flat, you do that pattern. Next time you get that pattern up the octave, you're going to use the same fingering. And in the middle, you've got 1 3 2 4. Or am I playing the right thing? 1 3 2 4. So when you've got A flat and D flat, and C flat and E flat, A flat, D flat, C flat, you've got the same fingering. The thing I don't like about this fingering is the 5 and 3 there is quite a big stretch. But I like the fact that it uses the same fingering pattern on each similar set of notes. Another fingering that seemed to feel okay under my hands was 1 3 2 4 over and over again. Now the good thing about that is it doesn't have an uncomfortable stretch. The bad thing about that fingering is you're going to need to try and think about it in the staccato, so that helps. But you're going to need to think about it like, if I use my caterpillar words, it's more easy to explain. So caterpillar, caterpillar, strawberry. So when you're using irregular fingering that doesn't match with the rhythm of the piece, sometimes you can get these unintended accents on weak beats. So we don't want accents on weak beats. The other fingering potentially is a little bit better with that, except in the strawberry. So 50 of, what is it? 6 of one, half a dozen of another. So you can decide which fingering you like there, but once you've decided what it is, write it down and then stick with it. Now the last line doesn't need much practice because there's not many notes in both. So we've got our G flat major chord in the top, and in the bottom we have a rolled G flat major chord, and the fingering suggests 5 2 1 3 1. So we'll go with that. And maybe we want that to roll faster to make it like a sprinkle of sound. 1 and, so I should count it, should I? 1 and 2 and 3 and D flat, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and, oh, it's a tenuto, 1 and 2 and 3 and, why all those extra tie notes? Because they're going to be held by the pedal. So your pedal's going to be down while you're doing that. When you're practicing counts together, 1 and off on count 2, so that your hands do exactly what it needs to do. So I'll do that with the count again. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3. And so I'm coming off a little bit abruptly to demonstrate that we're getting off the rest on count 2. And then the pedal's going to continue the sound. Okay, thank you for sticking with me till the end, and it's still working, which is great. So if I was practicing this, now that you've seen the video, heard how I practiced it, So, you know, if you're practicing it and you're needing to stop and pause and think about things, that's okay. I wasn't faking when I needed to stop and pause unless I told you I was. But I think it might be worthwhile to watch me play, like work on the first line, then pause the video and then do it yourself. Do the same steps yourself and then ask yourself, have I done enough times? Then go for the next section that I didn't do the same thing. Just watch that part, then you try and do it. If you need to rewind and watch that part again, that's fine. But just in those same sections that I practiced them, doing it as many times until it sounds good. Sometimes I moved on in the video when it really wasn't ready to move on. Try not to do that. Try and do enough times. If you get to about 10 times, then it's probably time to go, well, I'll do it tomorrow. But keep going slow. Don't rush. Don't guess. Think before you play so that you're training your hands to do the right thing, because then tomorrow when you do it, it will be a bit easier and you'll have the piece in no time. So have fun learning the piece. I look forward, if you've learned it off this video and you want to post your playing in the comments, I'll make sure to take time to listen to it. Happy practicing.